Right, good evening. Being 6:30, we'll call to order the August 5th Standing Committee of Council meeting. No additions or amendments to the agenda, so looking for an adoption. Councillor Gagne, seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions or comments? Right, all in favor? Okay, motion's carried. Any declarations of interest this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to announcements, awards, ceremonies, and presentations. Anything from council? Councillor Lacusta, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. A couple things. I'm the liaison for the Library Committee, and they held a meeting with our Protective Services Director last week and talked about a variety of things. I just gave you a copy of some thoughts they had on our bylaw to do with bullying and harassment. They also wanted to talk more about the bylaw officer and the bylaw officer's support for some of the street issues they have around and inside the library. So the director and the head librarian had a good conversation about that. And then something surprisingly came up. It had to do with availability of public washrooms in this community downtown. It appears that the library might be the chief place for people that are on the street to be able to use a washroom easily. And so that was discussed as well. And so that's from the Library Committee. I'm also the liaison for the Hay River Museum Society. And Museum Society just received word from Canadian Heritage that they're willing to negotiate a contribution agreement with the Museum Society for $300,000, which is the last large tranche of funds that the museum is going to need to get the Heritage Center up and running over the next 2-year period. So that was really good news for the Museum Society. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Lacusta. Yeah, and on that document that you gave me from the library there, I'll send that off to the SAO, and then we'll let them kick that around with administration and then maybe get that on a policy committee agenda. But anything further from council? Councillor Gagne, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I just had a few people approach me and commend the contractor who is taking care of the flowers around town, that it's been noticed and it's spectacular. So I thought I'd pass that over when I was visiting at the wharf on Saturday. Many compliments on the flowers around town. So excellent.
Thank you. Anything from administration? Thank you. Council liaison monthly updates. We'll start at the end of the table. Councillor Willows.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Start with the Regional Wellness Council here in Hay River. My term as chair expired on July 31st, and I believe we have a new chair that's about to be appointed, but it has not been done yet. But that being said, the committee itself, there were 3 people on the committees whose term has expired, and they did not re-up to continue on for one reason or another. So basically a call out to the community for anyone who may be interested in serving on the Regional Wellness Council, that it would be a good time to put your name forward. Through the department, the appointments are made by the Minister of Health. So it would, yes, it's been up and running for a number of years. It's been quite successful. It's an advisory board directly to the minister, and it's an important board that we have here in the community. So I would certainly encourage anyone that has any interest to contact Hay River Health and Social Services Authority, and they can lead you through the application process. With regard to the Healthy Communities Committee, I met with Stefan last week, and he'll be updating the strategy here over the next week or so. When the mayor's back, I'm going to be away as of the end of August for about 6 or 7 weeks. So Hopefully, we can have a meeting in that short, I don't want to see this thing lose its momentum, so I was going to talk to the mayor when I'm back, who sits on the committee as well, to perhaps chair a meeting so that the rest of the council can be, the council and the committee can be up to speed with what work has been done over the summer. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Willis. Councillor Squirrel?
Masi Cho, Deputy Mayor. Over the weekend, Katladeche First Nation just had their hand game tournament. That was a lot of fun and a lot of new faces in town that were here for that from throughout the north and then also northern Alberta. Other than that, the West Point First Nation is still working on their housing project. They're still in the process of that. And yeah, that's all I have for now. Masi.
Thank you, Councillor Squirrel. Councillor Gagne?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As the senior liaison, I have nothing to report. They're in summer hiatus and don't do anything besides their gardening and all of that. So I'll have a better report for you in September.
Thank you, Councillor Gagne. On the rec front there, not a whole lot other than what's in the report presented. Obviously, summer programming is well underway by the rec department, and rec staff are busy looking after the summer season and all the parks and infrastructure that go along with that, but not a whole lot of updates. There have been a few ball tournaments and a few other events that, major events that the rec department has helped out with, but not a whole lot happening on as far as updates on that front as well. But Councillor LaCusta, you kind of shared yours, but if you have more, Councillor Wall.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I will be sure to pass on the comments to the Beautification Committee about the flowers, and it does look really amazing. I did miss the last meeting because I was out of town, but I did get the notes, so they're working hard at making sure all the flowers are well watered, and it's a really good team of highly motivated group of people that just really have it at heart to make this place look nicer. And now I can talk about Heydays Festival, which was very much a success. So they did a fantastic job with workshops for kids and adults. We had 3 days of amazing music from local bands and Kendra Kay. The venues were well attended: the museum, McMeekin Park, the Keys, the Doghouse Pub, and the Legion. And we can't forget Saturday night at the beach at the Shaker, and there was a lot of brave fans out there that night because it was fairly chilly. A special thanks goes out to the Rotary Club for their hard work and dedication to this effort. I know it's a lot of work. Special thanks go out to Kevin Tremblay and April Gleichart for manning this and getting it all together, and just not giving up when times get tough. And it's just kind of a bummer that the weather wasn't cooperative, but that's what it is when you live in the north. And those are my updates for this week.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Speaking on the youth liaison, not a whole lot of new. Things are just running along smoothly. We have, our programs at the rec center running nicely. I've got a couple of programs at my studio, and but it's the dog days of summer, so yes, not a lot of news, and we'll have more next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Moving on to number 6, administrative inquiries. We'll turn it over to SAO Smith.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and good evening, Council. Just myself here today, and you'll have monthly reports from the directors that were just produced last Thursday, so just prior to the long weekend. So not much to update from those departments. Was a softball tournament this weekend in town, the long-standing Coors tournament. So the rec department was supporting field maintenance as usual for those types of events. Did lift the full fire ban, changed it to a partial fire ban ahead of the weekend. Despite those warm temperatures, there was really high humidity levels as well, you may have noticed, so that does influence decision making there. So we remain in a partial status. That was issued over the weekend. Yeah, I think that's it. I have a few updates myself that wouldn't have been in any reports. One of the big things, of course, that was in the news and experienced by all was the electrical service outages, power outages. Really unprecedented level of outage in the community. 2 days where there were customers without power for up to, I believe, 9 hours per day. It was also during, and what was probably partially at least contributing to the outage was the extreme heat conditions within the community. So just in consideration of the extended outages and those heat warnings going on, we didn't officially form our local emergency management organization, but we did have our management members meeting and discussing considerations opening up the emergency plan, etc., and did reach out to some of the partner agencies that included Hay River Health and Social Hay River Health and NTPC. So yeah, a lot of contact directly with operations at NTPC about what was going on. We did consider and did make some preparations for opening a cooling center, but we didn't establish, just in consideration of some of the limitations of our facilities. Often think community center, but our community center does not have backup power, and no air conditioning as well. That wouldn't be operating without the backup power in that scenario. But other portions of the community were coming online as well. So the portions, I think they have 3 feeders, I think, within the community, and there was outages for 2, but one of the feeders that served Old Town and kind of the north part of downtown and onwards was, and going north, was affected for the longer durations. That included the Woodland Manor and the long-term care patients there. So we're a little concerned with that. I think maybe a bit of newness with NTPC as well on just kind of learning the key customers' demands in town. I know that during the second day they were able to bring that long-term care facility online with the other feeders, as well as brought our lift station 1 power, which is the one in the ravine that serves about 50% of the community and is currently under construction, as you'll know. So without any secondary power there, they were just using back trucks to remove waste. We assisted with some public messaging. We also operated our water treatment plant on standby power for a few days, just helping with conservation. Aquatic center systems we took offline, as well as the HVAC to support some of those energy demands, considering there was just when they were bringing systems back online. Yeah, haven't heard really an official root cause come by my office. A lot of understanding of what was going on at the time, but did seem to be multiple factors in somewhat of a perfect storm during those high heat conditions. And of course, Tolston was down at the same time, and hence why they were on diesel. Just it's a typical operation in the summer for them to take Tolston offline to do maintenance. Plus, they're doing some things from the major overhauls that were outstanding. So. Our understanding, I know there was an outage just maybe today or something, a small one, but it doesn't seem to be related to the problems they were having. Seems like they've added more capacity. They were bringing backup generation online, and yeah, it seems like risks are pretty much mitigated from now until the Tolston Dam's back in operation. So we'll see. Continuing work on the strategic plan. So we did get input from council and senior management, all those that participated or had the opportunity to participate in the strategic plan workshop. So we did get information on your high priority tactics that we'll include in the strategic plan. So thanks for providing that input. Now working with our consultant on a final draft plan that will include performance measures, and we seek to have that in front of council this month for approval. I did participate last week, kind of representing the town administration in a face-to-face NWT housing needs assessment engagement session. So there was a consultant here in Hay River. Actually, we're quite familiar with them through our own housing strategy development in prior years. But they're just in town meeting with different governments to get perspectives on housing needs, programs in place, some of our statistics, future economic demand, things like that. So I think all of that information is going to be put in place to support housing development in the Northwest Territories, potentially tied to federal funding. Also had a meeting with Enterprise, the appointed SAO for Enterprise. Thought it'd be a good idea just to see how things are going there, see if there's any synergies or opportunities for us to support them, and vice versa. Did discuss several topics, but some of those included just mutual aid and community service agreement discussions, but for potential future benefit. Meeting tomorrow with a continuing kind of business or economic development engagement with the composting company that's interested in establishing business in the community. So they're in town tomorrow. We're going to look at some of the site options, not necessarily specific to the town, because we don't have really much land in inventory. But we'll be kind of helping them navigate some of the private interests in town that might be available to them. I'll note that Pine Point Mining is undertaking engagement work associated with their socio-economic impact assessment. So that's expected and good news. It's a big undertaking. That work seeks to understand some of the community economic stability, well-being, vulnerabilities, as well as some of our municipal service provisions and finances, just to identify potential impacts tied to the operations or potential operations of that mine, and identify any benefits as well. So both Councillor Willows and Councillor Bouchard are scheduled to participate in that. I'll be sitting in as well, but they'll be bringing perspectives tied to the Healthy Communities Committee and the Economic Development Committee. And perhaps of note to Council, that's the dredgate material that you might remember that the GNWT was making that material available to the public from the dredging activities from the last couple of years. We've been able to take advantage of quite a bit of the material for recreation projects, as well as our berm project that's going on in the West Channel. Some of the other material that's more of a silty material that's been identified as a good fit for the landfill. The GNWT is now taking what's left over and will be transporting it to our landfill at no charge, so that's a big win for us, and we'll be able to use that material. I'll note that Finance Committee meeting is scheduled next week, currently for August 14th, but just stay tuned for any potential changes in that schedule. It'll be a presentation on our Q2 financials. I think there's a couple capital projects, new capital projects that might be identified there, or maybe one, as well as the 2024 audit management letter. I'll note, I did send a communication to Council, but just publicly, that our Director of Infrastructure and Planning Services has submitted their resignation from the position. So we do have the luxury of a 3 months notice, which will help for that transition during what is a really busy period for that department in the construction season. And yeah, recruitment's already well underway, and we are using a headhunter service this time. And a note for me, I'll just be taking some summer vacation leave starting here Friday for a couple of weeks, and Blair Porter, your Director of Corporate Services, will be acting as the SAO. That concludes our update, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, SAO. Questions from Council? Councillor Gagne, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would just like to go back to the power outages for a minute, and I'm just wondering, as Vail Island, West Point, West Channel, we were the last, we as in me too, were the last to get our power. But one thing is that when we don't have power, we don't have water. And I'm wondering if in the future there could be some consideration. I know it was an unprecedented thing, but perhaps the thought of the cooling center or something along those lines, especially for the elders and the young parents of the babies and stuff like that. But just thought I'd bring it up and just mention that there was a lot of concern in regards to the fact that we had no water for that whole time that the power was out. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gani. Anything further from council? Right, seeing nothing else at this time, we will move on to new business. We've got a recommendation for council on 7A, Infrastructure and Planning Services Monthly Report. Looking for a mover. Councillor Wall, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the Infrastructure and Planning Services Monthly Report for July 2025 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Seconder. Councillor Duford. Any questions, or Councillor Lacusta, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a few questions about the report. One is they talk about an asbestos contractor for the lift station 1. Does the SA know who that contractor is?
SAO Smith.
No, thanks, Deputy Mayor. Not sure who the subcontractor is, assuming it's a subcontractor, but the primary contractor awarded the job is Rose Construction, so they would probably be hiring specialists in that case.
Thank you, SAO. Anything further? Councillor Lacusta.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The Vail Island Recreation Area talks about the dog park area has been previously tendered, is being installed. Tenders are being created for the concrete pad and outdoor rink, which will be the next items to be completed in the project. I was just wondering if we know what the projected cost is for the completion of that project. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe we do. I don't have the number off the top of my head. Maybe the SAO does. It was definitely a budgeted amount.
I could pull it up in probably 1 minute if you want to wait. Give me 1 second. Yeah, subject to a better check. I think the total project is 520,000. Don't have in front of me for historic numbers, but at least 50% of that was funded through the federal ISIP program, which we were awarded this project back in 2022. So I think we also received some other federal funding. So probably at most the cost would have been about 25% of the $150,000. The rest is coming through external funding.
Thank you, SAO Smith. Councillor Wall.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to make a comment. I really appreciate having the photos in the report, and that's really helpful for me to see. I'm a visual learner, so I really, really appreciate having the pictures of Nifty so that I can see what's going on, the removal. It's showing pictures of the lift station, and I think that's I feel like the reports are more intense, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to thank administration for that.
Thank you. Anything? Anything further from council? Councilor Lacusta, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. There's also in the report discussion of a salt shed and that the rear wall has collapsed. I don't know, but is this going to be something that the town is going to have to get estimates on and deal with in 2026? And so just what are the plans moving forward on that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
SAO Smith.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, this is one that's been identified more recently and hasn't been in our 10-year capital plan for whatever reason, but it is one that is on the agenda for the Finance Committee next week to have first discussions on it. But we have gone out for reviews from external contractors to get some information, not a full structural review on it, but an indication of the concerns with the damages or erosion that's occurring on some of the structural elements of it. So fairly significant concern at this point, probably something we'd want to get replaced for next year at the latest.
Thank you. Councilor Lacusta.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Further on in the report, there's no page numbers here, so it's on planning and development. The first item says planning and land management. The development officer and director of infrastructure and planning services has been involved in continued work the zoning and building bylaw review to assess and support the application forms being upgraded and efforts to integrate the flood mapping into the bylaw. My question is this will be coming to the Policy and Bylaw Committee when it's ready for us to see it? Thank you.
Yeah, my understanding of that, thank you, Councilor Lacusta, was this was based on the zoning and building bylaw that we just passed. I think more of probably bringing things into line with that new bylaw, but SAO Smith can elaborate further.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, the forms are just to support the actual bylaw that's just recently been approved by council. So just an administrative tool that supports applications for permits. The flood mapping, while initially identified in scope of the update to the zoning bylaw, we've now done it in two phases. So you've you've approved the parts that pertain primarily to housing in the community. But the flood mapping now becoming a bit more muddy, so to speak, with stakeholders and engagements that will be needed through it. It has a scope of work that's been defined and a contractor's been, consultant's been assigned to it. So there is an engagement plan and schedule tied to that. And yeah, of course, we'll be keeping council appraised and part of that engagement and draft reports and presentations will be coming your way. I think it's still scheduled for completion this year. So, yeah, stay tuned over the coming months.
Thank you, SAO. Further from council? Okay, seeing nothing. Agreed to take forward? All right, agreed. 7B, Recreation and Community Services Monthly Report for July. Looking for a mover. Councillor Wall.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the report entitled Recreation and Community Services Monthly Report for July 2025 as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gagne. Any questions to the motion? Councillor Lacusta, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This report has got page numbers, so that's great. So on page 7 of this report, it talks about facilities and maintenance and other community center maintenance items. And in the meeting with the Director of Protective Services and the Chief Librarian, there was a conversation, as I mentioned earlier, about washroom facilities for people that are on the street. And so this document on community center maintenance items reminded me of that. And so I have essentially a couple questions here. One is, My understanding is that some of the street people, maybe lots of them, I don't know any numbers, I don't have access to those washrooms in the community center. And so I was just wondering if there's more information that can be shared. And then the second part is, we do have, my understanding is we have a contractor to keep those washrooms clean. And I'm just wondering if that's an issue with having people that are just wandering on the street use the facilities and that sort of thing. So those are my two questions. Thank you.
SAO Smith.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor. So, yeah, all the facility is a public facility. It's accessible by anyone, as long as they follow our rules. If you don't follow the rules, then you may be not allowed to use facilities. There's some cases where it's, under certain conditions. So, but no, in general, everyone has access to the washrooms. But yeah, if rules aren't followed, they may be suspended. For contractors, so we do use we partially use contractors to clean the facilities, but for general day-to-day maintenance, such cleaning washrooms, that's completed by facility maintainer staff.
Thank you, SAO. Further from council. Councillor Costa.
Yeah, my understanding is that there are some people that are banned from using the washroom. And I'm not sure if it's a permanent ban or a week or whatever the banning is, but that leaves them without a washroom facility to use downtown, unless they go to the library, which is probably also, it isn't an issue. The library, I think, lets them go there, but that's the only place publicly they could go. So the town may want to consider what other services might be available if the community center and that Department of Town Council wants to continue to make it difficult for some of the street people to use the facilities there. Just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. No question there, so we'll take the note there, I guess. SAO Smith. Any further questions on the committee report? Right, seeing nothing, agreed to take forward. Agreed. So 7C, Municipal Enforcement Monthly Report for July. Looking for a mover. Councillor Gagne.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the Municipal Enforcement Report for July 2025 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded by Councillor Squirrel. Any questions to the motion? Right, agreed to take forward. Right, agreed. 7D, Emergency Services Monthly Report for July. Looking for a mover. Councillor Gagne, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Recommend that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the Emergency Services Activity Report for July 2025 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Questions to the motion? Right, agreed to take forward. All right, 7E, 2025 capital budget change. Looking for a mover. Councillor Willows.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves an increase to the 2025 sander and dump truck capital budget amount from $300,000 up to $329,000 to accommodate the actual cost received through a competitive tender, and that the 1999 sander truck remain in the fleet until failure. The budget variance is to be covered by savings recognized in the town's 2025 wheel loader tender.
Thank you, Councillor Willows. Seconded by Councillor Duford. Questions to the motion? Councillor LaCosta, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So the so we're going to buy. We had planned to buy a sander truck, and we thought it was going to cost us $300,000, but it looks like it's going to cost us $330,000, which isn't much difference, only 10% above what our expectation was. I'm just wondering where that $30,000 is going to come from, whether that's extra money we're spending this year or whether that money's coming from other programming that's going to get shifted to the sander truck. Thank you.
So it'll be taken out of the wheel loader replacement budget. Go ahead, Councillor LaCosta.
Can you explain what you just said, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so we have a budget for a wheel loader replacement. in the background. I'm just looking for it here.
It's in the motion.
It is. But yeah, so there's a variance in the budget that we have an allowance of about $30,000 on that wheel loader replacement. It'll be moved from that to this. Further, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So we will not be replacing the wheel loader this year because we'll be spending the $3,000 on the sander truck. Is that accurate?
We'll be replacing a wheel loader. We just don't need the $30,000 that we thought we did for that wheel loader, but SAO Smith can elaborate further.
Yeah, I thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, we've actually already went to tender and it came back $30,000 less. So, yeah, so we're already moving forward with executing the purchase of the wheel loader.
You. Further? Agreed to take forward. 7F, discretionary use application, looking for a mover. Councillor Gagne, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Recommend that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves development permit application D25-048, partial change of use of existing building in C2 Highway Service Commercial to allow for renovation to create a warehouse use for 10% of the building.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Questions to the motion? Agreed to take forward? Agreed. 7G, excused absence for Councillor Bouchard. Looking for a mover. Councillor Gagne, go ahead.
Sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I recommend that the Council of the Town of Hay River excuses Councillor Bouchard from the Standing Committee of Council Tuesday, August 5th, 2025.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Agreed to take forward? Agreed. I don't believe we had anything on camera. SAO? All right, then for this meeting, we will move on to Councillor Willows.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We'll take a short recess while we set up for this